Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, Jalen Royals. I mean, let's be real. Is Patrick Mahomes even good enough these days to make us want Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers in fantasy football? Back-to-back years, Mr. Buck, of 293 fantasy points out of Patrick Mahomes, a lower average depth of target than Gardner Minshew.
Not
lowest
great.
of all quarterbacks, lowest of all qualified quarterbacks in average depth of target last season. I throw it to you.
Yeah.
Are we drafting Chiefs wide receivers in fantasy football in 2025?
Definitely drafting Chiefs receivers, but you just got to be selective about who you take. I mean, Patty Mahomes is not the same Patty Mahomes as you just referenced. When you get a national ad campaign, sometimes you go the way of Baker Mayfield. Pat's got a lot of distractions, but I just have to say I'm sorry right off the rip. Y'all are going to hate me for this Rashee Rice stuff. I just got to get right into it. I got a bit of a diatribe I got to go on about Rashee Rice.
Okay, let's hear it.
So just right off the rip, Hollywood injured preseason last year. Kelce also banged up his knee preseason last year. So Rashee Rice has an ADP of 30, and it's rising. People are taking him at the 2-3 turn, and they're projecting him to be a second-round pick. He's off to a hot start in 2024 after a good rookie season, and he continued it in the beginning of 2024 before Mahomes just absolutely screwed him by being a dumbass who barely cares about football anymore, and he ran into his knee. It's the craziest thing ever. Didn't even think. I drafted Rice in my Dynasty rookie draft his first year. I'm a believer in his talent. I don't think he's elite, though. I think he's got great instincts. Like many have said, he turns up field right away. He carries his momentum through the catch point. He's a good player. But when I saw his ADP developing in the big board, I knew I wouldn't have much of him pretty quickly. And it's a shame because, I like what he can do in the short area of the field. I thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did more than just play backyard football and run slants across his own and run option routes like a running back. Maybe people can see that he can actually be a wide receiver one, and I should go back and look. But I did. I watched them all. And he basically just ran those routes, it turns out. And my opinion is that his target volume was a function of a broken offense. Rice's targets could be looked at as extension of the
Yeah,
run
but
game.
is that offense fixed, brother? I'm not sure that there's any big solves to that offense.
You got to let me go. I'm working my way there. And you are right. But there's more. The offense can still be broken, and this can still not work. I'm getting there. The other interesting factor is that Kelce had the knee injury, and Hollywood was gone. Like I said, both those guys are going to be back now. In the first two games for the Chiefs, when Pacheco was healthy, this is the big thing. When Pacheco was healthy, he was doing all right. He had 15 and 14 half PPR points in those games, his first two games, and then he got injured. In those first two games, when Pacheco was healthy, Rice had 14, almost similar production to Pacheco, 14 and a half and 16 fantasy points. He had 15 targets between those first two games when Pacheco was healthy. And once Pacheco went down, Rice's targets spiked to 14 in week 3. He went 12 for 110 and 1. And I think there's a correlation there. I think that the Chiefs are really going to try and get their run game going. And when their run game imploded last year and Kelce was gone and Hollywood was gone, Rice became an extension of the run game. I mean, we have to think about what the Chiefs want to do, right? What do you think?
They want to run the ball. I mean, yeah. I'll tell you this. The Chiefs definitely want to run the ball. I think a big thing that they're going to run into is they're not going to be able to, and they're not going to be able to for two reasons. The first being they are again counting on a rookie tackle. What happened the last time they tried to get a rookie tackle to fill in? Didn't work out. Now maybe this guy will end up being better. I mean, what do I know? What is Josh Simmons from Ohio State? I'm not going to pretend to all the people watching the Davis Mattek YouTube channel that I have any idea if he is going to be any good or not. Another thing, they didn't materially address the running back position. The group of guys that they're running back, two of the same guys, Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt, not an explosive runner in any way, shape, or form. Big problem. In fact, no rushes over 20 yards last year for Kareem Hunt. They had an Eli Mitchell who's not played football since 2023. Look at that pathetic breakaway rate from this backfield combined last season.
Yeah, but Hunt was able to consistently get short yardage gains. Kareem Hunt was able to do that. I don't think the line was as bad as you think it was last year.
No, the line was good on the right side.
Right.
And the left guard was okay, but the left tackle is the big problem, and that's a big problem for Mahomes. I
That's
mean,
more pass protection. Yeah.
the cumulative numbers for the Chiefs guys last year, absolutely brutal. 823 yards for Kelsey, 638 for Worthy, 610 for the combined games for DeAndre Hopkins. Noah Gray finishes third amongst Chief pass catchers in receiving yards. So I agree with you on count one.
Okay.
That the Chiefs offense was broken. That I agree with.
Okay.
On count two, that the Chiefs offense is going to be meaningfully different in a way that takes away from Rashee Rice passing volume, meaningfully disagree there. In fact, I think an argument that, because one thing Andy Reid really likes to do, has always done this. If something's working, he spams it. He doesn't say, that's enough. We got to try something else. He will keep going to the thing that works and go to it, and go to it, and go to it, and go to it.
Yeah, but he didn't go to it until Pacheco went down. Like the way that everybody remembers it, because like the thing is that you guys were all right about Rice as a pick last year. And like there is hangover for that. Like you guys love Rashee Rice because he worked. He was like the only thing that worked for you guys last year. And then and then he went down and you were like, shit, no, we don't get to see it. We got to take him in the second round. Got to take him in the second round. It doesn't really add up to me. And he's also recovering from an LCL tear. He posted a workout video where he ran routes very slowly, and the Twitter doctor said, with no factual basis whatsoever, that he could probably play in a game right now if he needed to. And he still has a suspension hanging over his head, and we're certain it's not going to happen because of a Twitter lawyer who has a court docket and his gut instinct. Like, I'm not willing to say he's not getting suspended and he's fully healthy, in addition to my other concerns.
Well, you are still getting a discount for Rashee Rice based on questionable health stuff and legal stuff that there for sure is going to be an answer on, because if and when there ends up being clear distinctions on Rashee Rice is not being suspended this year, Rashee Rice is running routes in a preseason game, he is going to end up going right here where Drake London and AJ Brown go. He's going to hop ahead of Ladd. He's going to hop ahead of T. He's going to hop ahead of Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin. I mean, in fact, he is going to end up ahead of McLaurin and JSN even without those answers. So looking at one set of projections that I really like, Mike Clay's, he's giving him 14 games, so he's middling it a little bit. These are his Chiefs wide receivers projections. He has Rashee Rice for 112 targets, 84 receptions, 946 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Now, you might notice something kind of interesting here. Only projecting 30 passing touchdowns for Pat Mahomes, only projecting 4,300 passing yards as a team. Now, I'm not saying that Mahomes is back. I'm not saying that this is going to finally be the year he tops 293 points. He's projected for 289 from Mr. Clay. What I am saying, though, is that there's probably no other quarterback that you would bet on having a 400 fantasy point season after being bad the year before more than Mahomes, right? I can't point to the market and say, well, if they just get a left tackle play and if Rashee stays healthy and Hollywood is complimentary. I mean, basically, I think you can just kind of, like, if I told you right now the Chiefs get Josh Simmons ends the year as the 8th highest PFF pass block rating left tackle, what are you doing with Chiefs weapons?
Probably bumping him a little bit.
Probably bumping him a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I honestly, like, I don't know. I'm a little out there. I think that Mahomes, like, the extraneous factors in his life are a lot. Like, this dude's wife and his family, like, they all just want to be reality TV stars, and he's like enabling it. He's got his own production company. He's got the State Farm stuff. This dude is distracted. When he was early in his career, kicking the crap out of the league, he did not have any of this stuff. So that's part of it. But I think this is where I turn you to my side, because I did not talk about Xavier Worthy.
You're definitely not selling me on the Mahomes family stuff, because this has always been his family. This has always been his life.
But now he has responsibility and distraction. I work in the film industry. I understand what that can be like. It's not.
He's richer. He's richer than ever. He's got 1 billion production assistants. This take, not selling me.
All right, that's
not
fair.
sold.
But let me try again. Xavier Worthy. Okay. Xavier Worthy did exactly what we want wide receivers to do. He came out in his first game. He scored 2 touchdowns. And after that, he attracted a lot more defensive attention.
I'll never forget where I was.
Me either, because I had just traded away Rashee Rice for Worthy in my dynasty league. But during his rookie regular season, he still put up 59, for 638 and 6 touchdowns through the air, 20 carries for 104 and 3 on the ground. He developed over the course of the season into a real target earner with 2 games of 11 targets and substantial wins.
Well,
and in the postseason, he scored 3 touchdowns. He scored 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. This is the trajectory we expect a rookie wide receiver to take when they're learning the league and coming into their full potential. And he followed that trajectory, in my opinion. And he's cheaper than Rice. It just doesn't.
Well, there's a clear delineation. So this game right here against the Chargers, he goes 5 for 41. After this game, they completely changed his role. I don't remember what exactly led up to it over the course of the season. I think if I remember correctly, he was particularly brutal in this game against Denver and then kind of did nothing. But then they move his average depth of target way down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Double digits in all these games. Now they go, you know what? This ain't working. He has no more double digit games for the rest of the season until they get to the Super Bowl, right? 9.7, 3.4, 8.9. They also bumped up his slot rate, right? So they started using him more out of the slot, less out wide, gets into these, 61% out of the slot, 63% out of the slot. Part of that is like some of that is going to be matchup based and a little bit noisy or whatever.
And they also didn't have an identity and didn't really know what he was capable of at that point.
Correct. So I think there are 2 big ways you have to grade Worthy. First one being, just look at the vast variation in PFF receiving grade, right? He's got some 90s, he's got some 80s. A thing that has been sticking for me all offseason has been his highest graded receiving game, his highest graded PFF game was the conference championship against Buffalo, a team that they lost to in the regular season. Obviously, it's like a total definition of a must-win game. He was playing outside in that game, not purely in the slot. And it was awesome in that game. Like, I think you can I would totally listen to you if you said, I do not care about the Super Bowl. The game was over. It didn't matter. And I'd say, you know what? Absolutely. Right. Same thing as, I don't think this is Gabe Davis scoring 4 touchdowns and then ending up as a 4th round pick the next year. Worthy is young. Worthy started out the year playing awful. Look at all these low grades at the start of the year. They're so bad. He gets way better over the course of the season. Of course, if I wanted to pay for NFL footage, I could splice in all those missed throws every time Mahomes missed a deep ball to Worthy, missed him for a touchdown.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, Worthy toe taps out of bounds. And I am not probably as bullish on Worthy as I was last year relative to cost because the cost is higher. He's like a 3-4 turn pick on Underdog now, and you have to select him over some like real wide receivers. Like you have to take him over a guy who went 8th overall. DJ Moore's finished wide receiver 7. Travis Hunter went 2nd overall. All Devonta Smith does is finish, as a 13th highest scoring wide receiver, despite no one wanting him. But I can't help but feel the combination of all Chiefs players are they're all a smidgen too low. Kelsey is a little too low. Rice is a little too low. Hollywood's a little too low. Worthy's a little bit too low. Cumulatively, because we all expect Mahomes' baseline to be like the 13th best quarterback in football.
Right.
But what if he's like the 4th best now? Or even like the 6th best?
Yeah. It's definitely possible. Like if you're just like in your home league taking quarterbacks and Mahomes is there in the 10th round, you're just like going to take him. I can definitely easily see a world where Mahomes has a good year and all of these guys do well, except Rice disappoints because you all expect him to still get 14 targets a game and he's just not going to. And defenses are going to wise up to that shit.
Well, a key thing about the Kansas City Chiefs is that even when they want to run the ball, right? Even when they're not running the ball well, all of this stuff, they still throw the ball more than, basically any team
than
in football.
Expectation.
Yeah. Yes, they are since Mahomes entered in the NFL, they are far and away number 1 in PROE. So even when they are running the ball, even when they're so boring, even last year, ask the viewer, listener, friend, ask yourself in your head right now, how many pass attempts did the Chiefs throw last year? You probably in your head, you're like, I don't know, dude, like 480. All they did was run the ball. They were 6th in the NFL in total passing attempts. Now, they were bad at it, right?
So
5.9 net adjusted yards per attempt. Teams better than the Chiefs, net adjusted passing yards per attempt. The Steelers, the Jaguars, the Broncos, the Colts, right? Truly, truly bad teams, right? And I guess what I'm trying not to make mistakes that I've made before, going too all in on the Chiefs. But if they can just be the 11th best offense, and I believe our friends over at ESPN.com, I want to say, I can look it up, but Mike has him as, like, I think the 11th highest scoring offense. He's got him for 427 points, which is, like right about the 8th or ninth best offense in football. And the projections are still pretty bullish, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, take that stuff for what you will. It's just a guy putting numbers into a computer. I understand that it's probably reasonable, but I don't know. Like, I feel like you don't normally win let's say your pod in the second round with your pick, but you can lose it. I think you can lose it. And I think that Rice is one of those ones there's just such high expectation on him based on how the drafters feel about the player, which I think is just a leak. It's just wrong process. And also just copy and pasting targets when he didn't have Hollywood or Kelsey, like Davis. If Kelsey didn't tweak his knee in the preseason and Hollywood Brown was on the field and Pacheco didn't get hurt, where do you think Rice is going this year?
Honestly, probably right about in the same spot. He was awesome. 2.21.
But put your mind back there. Put your mind back there and think about how those other players earn targets and what the team.
Well, that's the thing is Hollywood historically does not really earn targets. So Hollywood for his career, 1.58 yards per route run, higher average depth of target, has never topped. He's never topped 100 receptions in a season. He had 100.
He got Zay Flowers over in Baltimore, like with the most prolific running quarterback since Michael Vick.
He never played with Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was
he got Zay Flowers.
Oh, sure. I mean, I like Hollywood, and I think my official recommendation is that Rice is the best value, Hollywood is the second best value, and Worthy is the third best value. But all of them are so clearly draftable. I mean, look, Kelsey had the best utilization of this group, 86% of the routes, 20% of the end zone targets, a bunch of third and fourth down targets, obviously a ton of play action targets for Worthy, really nice ADOT for Hollywood Brown. Like, I suppose my takeaway here is this is all reliant on Mahomes' ability and Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, because I think Worthy is clearly good enough. Rice is clear. You know who Rashee Rice is, Buck? Rashee Rice is Amon-Ra St. Brown. The haters every year of Amon-Ra St. Brown's career are going to say, but what does he really do? He's not that explosive after the catch. He doesn't do anything down the field.
Dude,
and then
you cannot watch both of those players and say that he's like him. You can't. You got to take that back. Rashee Rice is not Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not even close.
They have a very similar play style and very similar role.
No, they don't. No, they definitely don't. Amon-Ra is like a crisp route runner. Rashee Rice is like turning. He's just running and turning and like continuing to run and breaking tackles because he's a good athlete. They're not the same caliber wide receiver.
Well, Rice is a pretty good athlete as well.
No, that's what I'm saying. Rice is a really good athlete, but he's not the route runner that Amon-Ra is, or the target earner when everybody's healthy. Amon-Ra is in a plethora amongst a plethora of talent and earning all that stuff. Rice is just like, Pacheco went down. Let's spam Rice for a game. And then I'll run into his knee.
So small sample, but last season, better targets per route run, better targets, slightly higher ADOT for St. Brown, marginally more air yards, no end zone targets for either one of them, more play action targets, and of course more PPR points. I do wonder if I can check this for 2020. I don't think I can check it for 2023, but I do think they are the way that they succeed as fantasy wide receiver ones is very similar in the sense that if Rashee Rice does it this year, there will still be people next year, Buck, probably you amongst them, who say, but it doesn't look quite right. He's not quite, he doesn't look like Jamar Chase. He doesn't look like Randy Moss. He doesn't look like Calvin Johnson.
He doesn't even look like Wes Welker.
He doesn't even look like Wes Welker. So the numbers can't possibly count. the numbers can't possibly count, right?
I
We
like
should
the
talk. We should talk real quick about Hollywood Brown before we get
Yes.
out of here.
Yes,
He
yes.
is the wide receiver 62 on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Davis, if you want to sign up there. Here are some of the wide receivers that Hollywood Brown is going right around.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, rookie Jack Besh, Kyle Williams, Marvin Mims, Rashad Bateman, Rashid Shaheed, Keon Coleman, Trey Hare, all these rookies going ahead. And I know, I mean, look, you could see the data. It's very clear. Hollywood Brown has not been a good fantasy wide receiver in a long time, but he probably is going to run about 72% of the routes for, like, again, even saying 13th best offense in the NFL, right? I'm even granting you that they could just be the same team they were last year. Mr. Clay has him for 51, 708, and 5. Obviously, there's a lot up in the air there. Big thing that you do need to know if you're following this stuff is Justin Watson is now a Texan. He ran the third most routes on the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Don't actually think that can be understated how big. Honestly, that's big for all of them, right? That's big for Rice. That's big for Worthy. That's big for Hollywood Brown. A lot of routes and a lot of snaps just left the team.
Well, I'm looking at 2 other versions of Rashee Rice down there with Juju and Jalen Royals too. So I'm starting to think about that. Starting to think about that they might be worried about him a little bit. Drafted his clone.
Chiefs Director of Player Personnel Ryan Nutt told reporters he believes Royals offers a similar skill set to Rice's, saying his game is very similar to Rashee's. That, Buck, is a great example of fake news. That is how you can use a news blurb to lie. They might very well think that. I've come and gone, seen a lot of day 4 or day 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, round 7 Chiefs players come and go. If they can play, they can play. Those dudes, I mean, I've seen first round picks not get on the field for Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs. I expect Jalen Royals will begin the season as a healthy scratch for Nico Remigio, because Nico Remigio is Dave Taub, the special teams coordinator, literally his favorite player of all time. Said he's the greatest special teamer he's ever seen.
I know, and he's got a hell of a name too. I'm just saying, look, viewers, last 2 years we had Olave and Waddle pulled up into the second round because these people don't know what to do with themselves. This year it's Rashee Rice. That's it.
Wow. Rashee Rice, modern day Chris Olave. I'm disagreeing with that. I think Rice is still a heavy target. When he gets into the second round, we can have a different conversation. But right now, I think he's still a heavy target. Hollywood, I consider a clear target, just a volume bet.
Definitely.
Really not dissimilar from Christian Kirk going with the Houston Texans. And I consider Worthy a target, albeit not one that you are wanting to snap ahead of ADP all that often. Right. Everyone, please make sure to like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for daily fantasy football videos. Check out patreon.com/Davis Mattek for more fantasy football content. And I will be back with all of you with the draft tomorrow. It's Short King summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's Short King summer.